Hey guys, how's it going? Octopus here and welcome back to Union Cross. We're going to be talking about the 5 new medals that just came out in JP. It should be here at Global in about 12 hours, 3 a.m. But they're 5 new medals from Olympus. We have Sora, Zeus, Hades, Pegasus, and the Rock Titan. I'm going to go through each one. Before we do that though, I kind of want to show you my setup currently on my main account. Sorry, my free-to-play account. Not my main account. My free-to-play account's like way better than my main account. So we're going to look at that really quickly because I want to show you guys, when you look at these new medals and these pull and skip videos, what you're really looking at is your current setup and what you really need. Medals will always get better and better and better, but if you already have medals with proper traits, there's no point of replacing them. There really isn't, because if you pull for that new medal, you got to pull for that medal, you got to pull for traits, and if you don't get the right traits, you can end up spending all your jewels for nothing. So always try to pull for medals that are on the slots that you need. Like for me, an example is Master Young Xehanort here. Just Young Xehanort here. He's got no traits. I really need traits on him, or I need a new reverse magic medal. So to me, on this banner, I want the Hades. Compared to people looking at the new Sora because he's so good, I'm not going to replace my Final Fantasy Record Keeper Lightning. So kind of just a heads up when you look at this. Look at your best Keyblade, best multiplier slots, and say, hey, what do I need? Currently, I'm waiting for the upgrade of Supernova Aqua because I do have the traits that I want in there. And when I mean traits, look for that -60 aerial and ground. Extra attack is beautiful, plus 1000 is good, but this is what you want to pass any of the future content, or just to make sure that your medals are more future proof. So yes, you could replace the medals, but there's really no point when you just spent that much on a medal. If you don't have traits, then yeah, by all means go right ahead. Don't forget those spirit slot is pretty much whatever you want there. I've got my Sephiroth. He's got extra attack 120%, all the negative aerials and ground, and plus 1000s. I will never be replacing a reverse power for a long time. I only did it because I have another slot over here, and that's why Master Young Xehanort's there. So just a little heads up what you guys should be doing for these pull and skip videos. Look for your current Keyblade and see what slots you need to work on before you decide, okay, I'm going to pull for this medal because it has the best multiplier in the game. You don't have traits, you don't have the best medal in the game. Alright, so starting off with God Form Sora over here. He is a Supernova medal. He's tier 9. He's upright speed. So again, that's why I showed you the fairy stars, because my lightning has perfect traits. I would love to have the upgrade in power, but there's just no point in me replacing my lightning, so I'm going to save my jewels on that. He costs 6 gauges, so you do need attack boost max SP gauge 0. His multiplier, I'm going to show you guys in cookstracker.com. Compared to this multiplier to the other ones in the game, it's ridiculous. He's got the AoE multiplier of 61.71 to 67.60 for AoE, and he sits on the 5th slot or the 6th slot to do maximum damage. So Fairy Stars, 5th slot, Pet slot, any Keyblade. He is a ridiculously powerful medal. So if you don't have anything sitting on your Pet slot right now that you want for AoE, this is the medal to put there. Or on the Fairy Stars, if you don't have a good upright speed medal, this is the medal you want to put there. It is ridiculous. I'm going to show you the difference right now. This is all the upright speed medals in the game, organized by highest multiplier for upright speed multiplier AoE. I repeat myself many times there. As you can see, Record Keeper Lightning here has 47.20. The new Sora has 20 more multiplier, 20.40 more multiplier than this medal. So yes, if you get it, Lightning is already pushed down. But again, if your Lightning has perfect traits, I would kind of just hold off. So back to Sora. Sora also does 3 hits, which is pretty good. It doesn't ignore enemies' counters, but 3 hits is not that high. So your blue counters are your only -3 on that. His super burst ability does not increase your medal's guilt. So that's a little thing that KR20 has better than him. KR20 will increase your medal's guilt by 250%, where he doesn't have that ability. He only's got 180 multiplier or 220 when he's Supernova Plus. And the ability just in PvP activates on slot 5. So nothing unique on his super burst, nothing unique on his actual activation. It's just a pure damage medal. It's not going to help the other medals, not going to help your buffs or debuffs, not going to give you more guild percentage. It is just pure damage, and there's nothing wrong with that when it's the last medal on your Keyblade. You should be ready done with all your buffs. So that's a crazy medal to have, guys, if you do get it. The one little curious thing here is the super burst on it, Supernova, is that it is single target. So yet he is AoE, he's going to do AoE damage to all the enemies. His Supernova is single target, so keep that in mind. Alright, next up we have Zeus. Zeus is a very interesting one. He is basically another version of Monster Sora. He does that 30% chance of actually going through the enemy's defense boost in PvP. He's a little weird though. He's got a couple things we're going to talk about it. So to break him down, he's a tier 9 upright power, which I'm going to really emphasize here. He costs 6 gauges, so again, attack boost max, SP gauge 0. He's got a multiplier of 29.68 to 45.79, and you're just going to have full HP, and you're good to go for that 45. So 45.79 AoE metal, which is weird because he's like Monster Sora, which is going to be better in PvP because you want to break through the enemy's defense, but there's only one enemy in PvP. He's got a big downfall though. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But 45.79 AoE metal, compare that to other upright power metals in the game. That is the highest multiplier for AoE upright power. The thing about upright power, guys, just keep this in consideration, is that Fenrir and Darkgnaw are going to be the best 2 keyblades for this metal. 2.80 multiplier. Fenrir has 1.9, 2.5, or 2.9 on the end slot, but you don't want to put them there. I'm going to show you why. Then you also got other keyblades like Moogle Glory, but 2.2, and then Fairy Star's first slot 2.1. Very weak multipliers and keyblades that people usually don't use. So he's going to have very unique spots. Again, PvP, it's going to be good, but let's talk about what makes him bad. So what makes Zeus bad here is that he is an AoE metal, the new Monster Sora. He ignores enemies' defense boost, but he's got Overwrite. Now, this is a blessing, but also a little bit of a curse because here's his Overwrite. He gives you upright general attack and to 15, and he does Overwrite power attack plus 10. So no matter what you do, this metal will always only have plus 10 power strength. And with pet rank going to maximum of rank 13, you can have 17 power strength increase. You're losing 7 buffs because he has Overwrite. So he'll never be at the full potential of any other metal. So Monster Sora kind of has a better standing point from there. And also he's got power defense to -10, not 15. He does Overwrite upright general attack to 15, and he overwrites enemies upright to -15, but he does -10 and plus 10 for power. That's not that great, especially if you want to use him as a damage metal in PvE. That's why I say he's a little bit weird, because he's AoE, but he's not going to do damage in PvE when it comes to level 5,000 enemies, or maybe even level 4,000 with that minusing going on. He does have the Supernova, which does buff your general power attack by 10 and debuffs enemies' power defense by 10. But if you use that first and then use him, it's going to overwrite it. If you use the overwrite, so activate him first and then use a Supernova, he doesn't get that power regardless. You have to activate him first, so overwrite activates, and then you activate Supernova, and by then it's just too late. So it's an interesting metal. If you get it, it's going to do damage in PvP, don't get me wrong. Even though you don't have the maximum buff and debuffs for power, having that ignoring enemies' defense, he's still going to do good damage like Sora. Monster Sora, he sits at a pretty good place when you look at him, and he doesn't really need to be replaced. 42.94 compared to Zeus's 45.79. So you're only looking at like a 3 increase almost. So do you need Zeus? Yes, it's going to do damage. Yes, it's probably better than putting any other metal there, just because if you ignore enemy's defense, it doesn't matter if you don't have max buffs or debuffs. He's going to do some good damage. But besides that, he's kind of not the greatest of metals, which is just awkward buffs and debuffs. So the only good thing about him is that he does ignore enemies' counters, so he won't raise it. And he does have the override ability for your attack and for the enemy's defense for upright and power. So you could use him in the starting of the Keyblade for the new quest. You know how it says you have to use, like the Titan. Titan says you have to use metals that don't cost 0 gauges. It actually has to cost 1 or more. You can use him as your starting attacking metal, because general attack plus 15 and then attack power plus 15 plus upright. So you do got good buffs and debuffs for overwrite. Besides that though, he's not going to be doing any damage for you. Alright, so next up is Hades. Hades is actually pretty good for what he does, and he's going to be my kind of like go-to if I want to pull for this banner. I hope I do get Hades out of this, because I do need a good reverse magic, and he's got like one of the best multipliers in the game for reverse magic. So what does Hades do? Hades is a tier 9 reverse magic, costs 6 gauges, attack boost max, SP gauge 0. Again, multiplier is 42.33 to 54.87. It's one of those metals, if it's a single target, it does 54.87. If it's AoE, 2.33. For his buffs and debuffs, you can kind of compare him to Master Xehanort, but not really. He is a little bit unique on his own. He does got that same single target and then AoE, but besides that, for one turn, he buffs your reverse attack by 15 and reverse defense down on the enemy by 15, but he's got all the buffs and debuffs in the game. So he buffs general attack only by 10, not 15, buffs magic by 10, not 15, debuffs the enemies general attack by 5 tiers, which is actually unique for a really strong metal, and also lowering the enemy's general attack, which is cool. Then he debuffs the enemy's general defense by 10 and magic defense by 10. So he doesn't have perfect buffs and debuffs, but he's a big attacking metal with buffs and debuffs. So he fits really good on the Fairy Stars on the second slot, being that reverse magic. And having that early slot there, along with your Supernova Kairi or Xion, you can really make some really good Keyblade setups because of that. Even though you're using Kairi, he's going to give you those reverse buffs and debuffs, and he's going to clean up the rest that of Kairi can't finish, like for magic. And if there's a little bit of a buff on the enemy or debuff on you, he can kind of clean that up as well. So if you get extra attack on him and Kairi, you're pretty much going to be set, and you don't need an overwrite metal. You have everything going on here without any issues. So this is actually a really good metal to go for when it comes to the reverse magic slot. And when you compare him to other metals for reverse magic, yes, we do have Luxord over here, but Luxord has that RNG chance of doing more damage. Then you go to Demix, who has to make multiple turns to hit that 50 multiplier. And then you look at Maleficent's single target of 47, the more gauges are full, where his single target is 54.87, and he gives all those other unique stuff. And like I said, young Xehanort over here only has a multiplier of 39.94, lower the slot number. So he's actually a really good reverse magic metal. Even if we take this away and go single target, when you look at single target, he's still at a great place, 54.87. Almost right beside Luxord over here, but Luxord is RNG and Hades isn't. Hades just doesn't care. He's like, hey, gonna burn. So it's really good. He does increase the metal's guilts by 170%. Not really needed when you have Kairi and Xion. But for his Supernova ability, it is AoE as well. 160 Supernova Plus. It's at 200 multiplier. What it does, again, you don't really need an overwrite metal when you have him paired up with Kairi and Xion, because his AoE ability buffs your reverse attack by 10 tiers and debuffs the enemy's reverse defense by 10 tiers. And he also increases the enemy's counters plus 3. So that's pretty much it for the tier 9s. Then we got 2 tier 8s, which honestly, I'm not even going to show you guys examples of what it goes against. Again, upright speed here. We have so many better choices, and this metal only goes for 3 attacks for its buffs. So it costs 3 gauges. It's a tier 8, multiplier 30.16 to 36.87. For 3 attacks, buff general speed attack by 15, debuffs the enemy's general speed by 15 tiers. So it doesn't even have upright buffs on it. If it did, I would say it's pretty good for that one quick little burst right there, and the next 2 metals will get the actual thing as well, because it's only 3 attacks. It's not 3 turns, 1 turn. It's his ability plus someone else's ability and the next ability, and that's it. After that, you lose the buffs. So he's one of those, and he also has the damage increases the lower the slot number. So it's not like you can put him on the 3rd or 4th slot so you can get on the couple of the rest of the Keyblade. He has to be on the lower one, or his multiplier is only 30, and AoE multiplier 30 is just not that good these days. So he's definitely a weird one. He doesn't ignore enemy counters, hits 5, so that's 5 blue counters off the enemy, and his Supernova ability is AoE with only 140 multiplier. He buffs general magic defense by 10 tiers. So it's a good tanky metal when it comes against magic metals. You do get at least 10 defense and 10 magic defense. Recovers 3 gauges, but besides that, you don't really want to do anything with them. You don't want to chase for trades. You don't want to upgrade them. I wouldn't waste your tier 8 Meow Wows on it. It's just not really one of those that's worth it. If you need that buffing general and magic defense, that could make a difference, but it's only for 1 activation. So Pegasus is a good old skip. And our last metal is Rock Titan. Rock Titan is one of those metals that are interesting. So it's not bad, but it's not great either. It's got a unique way of actually doing damage, but the damage multiplier is not that big of a difference. So he is a reverse power metal, tier 8. He costs 4 gauges, not too bad, but I still put attack boost max on it with a SP gauge. His multiplier is 49.29 to 52.14. So you only lose like 3 multiplier if you don't meet this condition. He is a random attacking metal, so his attack, if there's multiple enemies, it's going to hit different ones, or it'll only hit one. It all depends. It's random. He buffs for 2 turns. Your reverse attack by 3 tiers, your general and power attack by 10 tiers. He debuffs the enemy's general defense by 5 tiers. But in order to get the maximum multiplier of 52, he consumes all gauges regardless of skills. Damage increases the more gauges consumed. So you don't want him to be midway, early. He has to be on the pet slot, the last slot. He's going to shine more in PvP than anything. But there's the thing, if you want that higher multiplier of 52.14, you've got to have at least 10 gauges, I believe, when it comes to these medals. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. But when it comes to these medals, I think he has to consume 10 gauges. But let's say you have 20 gauges, he will make that 20 go to 0. He won't get more damage because of 20. I think all you need is 10 gauges for him to do maximum damage. But the damage is 49 to 52, which is not that big. And when you look at the other reverse power medals in the game, even at his lowest multiplier, 49.29, he'll be sitting right between Final Fantasy Record Keeper Sephiroth and Syx. When you have his higher one, he's above Syx, so he's the 3rd strongest reverse power single target in the game. Because if you face a boss, a raid boss, or PvP, you're basically going to be hitting one target with that. In a group of enemies, it's not that really good of an idea to do that, but it's there. So it's not terrible. It's just that you got to consume those gauges for the best, but even without the best, 49 multiplier is still really good. You guys have Pete. You know how Pete does a lot of damage? Well, Rock Titan's just a little bit stronger than that, and you can put Rock Titan wherever you want. It's just going to consume all those gauges. So whatever next medal comes up, better restore gauges. So it has a downfall. It's strong, but it has a downfall. So that's the new 5 medals in the game, guys. I'm pretty much going to probably go for this banner because, one, I don't have a Monster Sora, so Zeus is going to kind of help in PvP. I'm not focusing on PvP, but the reason I want to pull for the banner is that Hades. If I get Hades, I can increase my fairy star setup to be almost perfect. The thing is, I gotta chase those traits for Hades, so make sure you have enough jewels if you're gonna go chasing. The VIP banner is a 5 mercy pull. It is 1 out of 3 chance to get one of these medals because you either get Sora, Zeus, or Hades in the mercy pull. And for the normal banner, it's a 10 mercy pull. Again, 1 out of 3 chance to get the medal you guys want. For me, there's a 2 out of 3 chance to get something that's going to really help me. And if I do get Zeus, Zeus is okay for PvP, I guess. I don't have a Monster Sora on either account, so it wouldn't be terrible. Doesn't have perfect buffs and debuffs, but it's still going to do some good damage in PvP. So it's up to you guys what you want to go for. But remember that template I showed you in the beginning. I showed you my fairy stars, and I showed you what traits I had on everything. Technically, I can skip this on my free-to-play account and just carry on because my medals do carry me in the top thousands in Coliseum. I had passed all the content, so there's no need for me to spend jewels. Try to look at your setup, see how strong it is, and see what needs replacing, and then ask yourself if you need to pull. That's what matters in the end. Your setup is different than everyone else's. Yes, Sora is the best medal in the game. If you do get him, congratulations. Even if you do have a perfect Final Fantasy Record Keeper Lightning, you can just put that on the pet slot or on the Starlight. You have 2 slots for a very good upright speed medal. But don't forget your Ventus medal from the Birth by Sleep medals. Once that becomes Supernova, you also have another good medal there. So let me know what you guys think down below. Which one's your favorite? What are you going for? Or are you skipping? If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to hit the like button. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Keep on smiling, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey guys, how's it going? Octopus here. Welcome back to Union Cross. We're gonna be talking about the brand new medals, brand new medals.